Good evening to you again, everyone, and welcome back to the Chatham County Commission Forum, sponsored by WSEV-TV and Georgia Southern University. And we've hit the 8:30 half hour. We're looking forward to this last session of the night with candidates for Chatham County Commission. You'll have an opportunity to meet the candidates running to represent Districts 6 and 7. And joining us right now from District 6 are the candidates William Dyal and Erin Whiteley. And we have with us tonight from District 7, longtime commissioner, the incumbent Dean Kicklighter, and his challenger, Orlando Scott. Thank you all for being with us tonight.
So we want to talk a little bit now about the format. So each of you have 60 seconds for your opening statements. Answers to each question will be limited to 90 seconds. And you'll have 20-second rebuttals if necessary. Closing statements also will come at the end. You'll have 1 minute each for those. So we are ready to begin with opening statements tonight. Just introduce yourselves and tell us why you are running, and we will begin with District 6, William Dyal.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Ned, for having me. I do appreciate it very much. It's good to be here. One of the main reasons I wanted to run is I want to be a voice for the little guy. I'm an electrician by trade. I'm not a politician. I think it's time to get some working people back in these offices and not your, politicians or party affiliated people back in. We need to get some working people back in these positions. And I think that's where I'm going to come in. I'm the voice of the little guy. I mean, I've grown up in construction. I've been in construction my whole life. I'm a business owner for 20 years now. Been married to my beautiful wife for 12 years. We have 4 amazing boys. 2 were diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. That's made me become a strong autism advocate, strong supporter of the 200 Club, many other local organizations. That's one of the main reasons I'm running, is to be the voice of the little guy. We need to give the power back to the people instead of letting the politicians make all of these decisions for our district. Our district's been overlooked for too long, and we need to take some of that back. Thank you.
Thank you. Now opening statements from Mr. Whiteley.
Well, good evening and thank you for having me. I'm Erin Whiteley. I'm a husband, father, mentor, Savannah State graduate, as well as a business owner and a combat veteran. I have experience in working and serving our community and people within our community in various capacities, regardless of race or political affiliation or any other attribute. I'm not afraid to engage people of opposing views to find common ground. A few of my focal points would be youth engagement, because the youth are tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's workforce, tomorrow's voters, tomorrow's business owners. So if we're not pouring into them, we're setting our community up for failure. Business growth and development, because our district is home to too many vacant buildings, too many vacancies within shopping spaces. And I think it's important that we use the brilliant minds that we have within our district and our community to fill those spaces with businesses to help not only us patronize as District 6 residents, but also to help people have easy access to employment. And finally, accountability and accessibility, because District 6 priorities are going to be my priorities. So I need your help.
And that's your time.
Be accountable. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Now we will go to District 7 and we will begin with Dean Kicklighter.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. I'm Dean Kicklighter, and I'm a lifelong resident of the 7th District. I lived here back when Cooler had 1 red light. Been here forever, love the community. And I'm the father of 2 wonderful children. One just took the bar, one's in real estate school. They've got 2 wonderful spouses, and I'm pleased to have an awesome and loving fiance right now. She has 2 wonderful children. Her 88-year-old mother lives with us too. And my rock and my mother, the Mayor Pro Tem of Garden City, is still with me, thank goodness. And anyhow, that's about me personally a little bit. But I'll tell you, I own 2 businesses. Politics is my hobby. That's not how I make my living. I make my living with my businesses. One misconception about local politics: they don't pay enough to be a career politician. That's a hobby. I bring more experience and knowledge, and I bring a fight to get things done in the 7th District. And I have the track record to prove it. I by far have the most experience of anyone running, but I'm not an old man. In fact, I'm the 2nd youngest person on the Chatham County Commission. That's because I got started early. At 26 years old, I was Mayor Pro Tem of the city. At 28, I was Mayor
Mr.
Strong.
Kicklighter, That's your time.
That was
Thank you.
5 pages cut off.
Save some for the end now. All right, now we will go to your challenger, Mr. Orlando Scott.
Hey, Ben, Tina, WSAV, and Georgia Southern, thank you for having us this evening on your platform. I'm Orlando Scott. I'm running to be your next commissioner for District 7. I'm a married guy with 2 children, two wonderful children, product of Savannah School System, graduate of Savannah State University School of Business, faith leader at Overcoming by Faith, and I'm a multi-unit manager, covered 15 stores for a national retailer. I'm running for, because I envision a different District 7. It's progressive, it's growing, vision around infrastructure. I have a lot of great ideas around that. Accessibility is important to our residents, and I definitely would be one to obtain that. And then accountability for the work that people has called me to do. So thank you again for having me. I look forward to a lively discussion tonight.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we are ready to begin the first question of the evening. And this is directed first to the candidates and running for District 7, the incumbent being Kicklighter and Orlando Scott. Mr. Scott, you will answer the question first. It is, name an issue affecting your district that you believe must be a priority once you are in office, and how would you address that?
Great question, Tina. The main issue is infrastructure. We have to get a grasp on that. I believe there is a tremendous amount of gaps throughout the district, whether you're talking about roads. I'm speaking of the dirty stuff. So roads, sewer, drainage, water treatment, all of that we have to address. There's congestion, there's work issues that need to be done. Digging in the splosh, looking to see what funding that we could transfer and appropriate to priority projects, and then ensuring that the next splosh cycle that we have the right plans in place to address a lot of the concerns I just spoke of.
Same question to Mr. Kicklighter.
Thank you. First, I'll state that the county owns no water treatment plants in the 7th district, so that's not a issue at all. Actually, we own some and actually wound up selling them to a private company against my will. But other than that, the main priorities will be to do what I've been doing. I have brought the lion's share of SPLOST monies home to the 7th district, probably more than several other districts combined. Millions for the Pooler Parkway, millions for drainage, millions for libraries, 2 new libraries, $30 million for the best new job opportunities coming up on the west side with that 700 and something acre park that'll be there with the big jobs. The main issue is to continue fighting for better roads, better drainage. I've brought the millions in. I got 16 million for flood pumps. I have 4 million left because we gave back 12 million, and I'm going to get that money and put it where it's needed. I've got the county studying it right now where it's needed. That's where it's going to go. I want to be around to get my flood pump in and get more money in the future to eliminate the flooding. Before I took office, the area flooded. I'm not aware of any structural flooding in this district whatsoever. Yes, a few yards, and that's sickening if it's your yard. But by God, if you sitting in this seat, it took millions of dollars to keep structures from going under. I plan to keep getting more, and we're going to keep moving this district forward.
Mr. Kicklighter, thank you. Mr. Whiteley, you're up next.
Okay, so thank you. And I forgot to say, I neglected to say thank you for having this and thank you for having me. I think one of the biggest issues in the 6th district is youth engagement. We have a slew of youth. We have 8 schools within our district, and sports is not the only way that we can engage our youth. I think when we start engaging our youth, we can make sure that we're creating productive citizens, but also keeping them busy so we don't have some of the petty crimes such as burglaries that we've seen an increase in recently, and some of the crimes, other crimes associated with bored kids. And then another thing I would think that kind of goes hand in hand or right along that would be business growth. We have a lot of vacant buildings. Businesses are leaving the South Side. And so we need to make sure that we're engaging business owners, we're engaging our community to create business owners, to make sure that we can fill some of those vacancies, because a vacant building can also become a victim of a crime by a bored youth.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Dyal, your thoughts, please.
Yes, thank you, Tina. Some of the bigger districts and issues in District 6. District 6 needs to be recognized again. District 6, I believe, has been forgotten about a long time ago by the county commission. We've been treated, as other districts have now, like the redheaded stepchild. Commercial and residential vacancies, you have dilapidated buildings, blight. District 6 is kind of the gateway, one of the gateways into Savannah, and it should be looked at and treated as that. You come into District 6, you see closed down businesses, you see dilapidated houses, and nothing's being done about any of this. They're unsafe. Mental health is another big issue that we need to look at countywide. You know, go moving forward with that. Equality, not just equality that everybody comes to mind. I mean, equality across the whole board. Race, religion, men and women, disabled, elderly, equality across the whole board in Chatham County, especially District 6. We have a lot of work to do, long way to go, but we're going to get through it and we're going to make it happen.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to the next question now. Everybody answered, right, T? Yeah. Okay. Here's the next one. Do you believe that county leaders have communicated well during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, or should there have been more communication between county leaders and citizens, or county leaders and city leaders? And please explain your answer. We will begin with William Dyal.
Thank you, Ben. When it comes to something like the COVID-19, I don't think there could be too much communication in a situation like this. Too much communication would just not be, you know, that couldn't happen. I believe there could have been more communication. Certain things were handled good. I think the city and the county could have worked together a little more, because you go into certain parts and you wear a mask, you go into other parts, you don't wear a mask. And it's just got kind of confusing for a lot of people. You almost had to check on your phone to see if you were in the city limits or the county to know if you needed to wear a mask or not. So it never hurts to have too much information. I don't think it would have hurt for them to put out more information, city and county-wide, on that.
Thank you. Now to Mr. Whiteley.
So overall, I think communication with the citizenship is something that we definitely need to work on and try to improve. We should increase the budget a little bit more to make sure that information is easily attained and easily understood by our citizens. So to go into that question, no, I don't think that there was enough communication. Just like Mr. Dyal said, I agree with him. A lot of people were kind of leaning towards the city, but didn't know who they should necessarily be listening to. And I felt like overall, this should have been, the county could have perhaps stood in more of a leadership role, and a collaborative leadership role, that is, to just kind of set the tone and make sure that we are engaging our citizens, not just about COVID. If we had put enough effort into engaging our citizens regularly up to this point, then we would have already had the infrastructure, so to speak, in place to engage our citizens to get information to them.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go to District 7. The question is about county communication during this COVID-19 crisis. We'll begin with Mr. Kicklighter.
Thank you. I thought the chairman was unusually quiet on the situation. However, I will state that I believe he followed the laws or orders that the governor actually put in place. I believe it was would be a little bit of showboating on his part to have mandated masks when there was a state order in place that mandated masks did not apply for the local community. So he pretty much, in my opinion, stayed in line with the governor's orders in the beginning there. He stayed a little too quiet. On the other hand, I did admire Mayor Johnson for standing up for his true beliefs. I think that's very rare with politicians nowadays. Unfortunately, when you win an election, you're called a politician. I'd like to think that I've won, but I'll never be a politician. Anyhow, I'm kind of torn though. Although Mayor Johnson stood up for what he believed in, I believe that we in elected office should also do what we're sworn to do, and that's uphold the state and federal laws. There was a state law or whatever in place from the governor that you couldn't mandate masks. So I thought it was an unnecessary fight against our own governor. And I really thought bringing Mayor Cuomo in from New York was a slap in the face to our own governor, which we now see we need him for the millions of dollars. So I don't believe we should be fighting with anyone that we need more than he needs us. And touchy subjects, but you know, I think the chairman overall was a little quiet on the situation, but he did follow the laws.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Scott?
Hey, Ben, the county put politics over people. And it was very evident. The Savannah Municipality started their mask mandate sometime in March. The county started August the 1st. They were way behind the game. The experts from the beginning told us 12 to 18 months this pandemic was going to happen. They told us the 3 W's: watch your distance, wash your hand, wear your mask. And there was no leadership in my municipalities that I represent, that I will represent in the 7th district, including the incumbent that's on this forum. No communication at all. And I think it was a disservice to our citizens in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Kicklighter. Would you like to respond to that?
Oh, yes, sir, I sure would. If anybody's ever watched anything, I'm surprised Mr. Scott's obviously never watched me in action. I'm not scared to take on any situation, any topic, anywhere. Had he looked at my Facebook, I commented on that many a times about the COVID, and actually my belief that people are not as stupid as some politicians want to act like they are. I believe that people could put on their mask themselves and protect themselves if they so choose, just like the hospital workers wear a mask to be protected. So I was a little torn of whether or not you force people acting as if they're totally stupid, or you allow people to make their own decisions. I'm not one that believes in more government when there's maybe not a reason to have more government there. So, you know, I was again torn. I'm not a waffler on anything, but again, I don't like to force government on people thinking that the public's not smart enough to protect themselves, which in this case, I do believe that the public can put on masks and should put on masks, because according to our healthcare workers, they're the ones working with the patients. It will protect you. So if people were worried about getting sick, it's their job and their duty to wear their mask when they go out to public.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kicklighter. Tina?
All right, next question is pretty much a loaded question, so listen carefully. We want to talk specifically about the transportation funding. That's a big issue here in Chatham County. And the question is, would you support expanding the transit tax to allow Chatham area transit to serve all municipalities countywide? What transportation policies would you prioritize? And how do you see the future of Chatham area transit? I want to stay in District 7, and we will begin with you, Mr. Kicklighter.
Thank you, Tina. To understand my response, you would have to understand the history and the structure of Chatham area transit. When it was originally charted, each city was able to either accept the tax in the service or opt out of it. So that took place at when they first created it. So what happens is, politically, we have on the county commission no authority to spread it out if we wanted to. That's totally up to the state legislators. So this question would be better posed actually for the state legislators. But I, for one, would not deny the service if the majority of the citizens wanted it. So if the mayor and council of the area, of the cities I represent, if they wanted to ask for a vote for that, I would not oppose the citizens getting to vote on it. But I also would not support a forced tax on the cities when they opted out of the service when it was originally created. I just don't believe in forcing something that they were allowed to opt out in the beginning. So
okay, thank you.
Citizens should vote.
Thank you very much. Mr. Scott, you're up. And what are your thoughts?
Let's look at a T-Splash. Other municipalities are doing it. I think it's a great way to expand our transit system without taxing the citizens. There is a need in the 7th District. I'll give you an example, the Tanger Outlet Mall that actually borders the 7th District. The workers have to travel 30 minutes, walk 30 minutes to the nearest bus stop. That's unacceptable. And the current administration won't even bring it to the table. So he's right. Let's get the residents involved. Let's listen to them, but at least let's have a discussion around it. I think there are options where we can definitely afford to do that.
Okay, Mr. Scott, thank you. Mr. Kicklighter, would you like to respond to that?
No, I think that anything that's fair for the public without forcing taxes on the public, that's fair. I mean, because again, I'm not anti-transportation. I'm just anti-forcing more taxes on citizens when their governments opted out of that tax in the first place. So if there's other options out there that could help, that would be something to definitely look into. But I would expect the state of Georgia to only decide on something if the mayor and councils, the people elected to represent their citizens, actually put in the request to take a look at it. I don't believe the county should come in forcing any municipality, because they have the elected leaders there that are elected to represent the citizens in their district. We represent them, but we also represent the unincorporated areas when it comes to services, and that's why the unincorporated areas pay that tax, because that's the way it was when it was structured. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Tina.
District 6 and Mr.
Whiteley. Okay, so
Well, who do we have on the screen right now?
Yeah, it was hard to hear you for a second there. I'm not sure
Okay.
if our ear batteries are dying. I think it's like the battery's telling us there's something going on. But yeah, Mr. Whiteley, it's your
Yes.
question.
Okay, great.
Okay, so transportation is vital to our economy, to workers, to businesses, and so I think it should be a focal point when it comes to serving our citizens. I agree with Mr. Scott. I think that's something we should look into, not necessarily completely married to the idea, but something to look into would be a T-Splosh 2. And to go historically, I understand that in 2012, T-Splosh 1, which included 10 counties, was voted down, and Chatham County amongst some other counties. But if we were to do a T-Splosh 2, which would be county specific, then what that is doing is sharing the cost of the transportation, so to speak, with our visitors, considering that tourism plays a big role in our economy. I think that is something, a viable option. And in doing that, I think we can use a T-Splosh not only to repair some of the roadway issues, such as White Bluff and Coffee Bluff. It needs to be expanded in my district. A lot of drainage issues. We could use T-Splosh for that. And more importantly, or not more important, but also it could be used to fund fare-free ridership throughout the county. I think if we had fare-free ridership, when we're talking about the Savannah Manufacturing Center, that's way out in West Chatham. When we're talking about Tanger outlets, it's creating easy access. And it also makes us attractive for conferences and perhaps to visitors who know I can come, I can park my car, and I can get around town on the public transportation.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dyal? And you're muted. Okay, there you go.
Yes, as far as transportation, we definitely need good public transportation. The city and the county can't operate effectively without that. I would definitely support, like Commissioner Kicklighter said, the municipalities opted out of it. That would definitely need to be revisited. And if they decide to opt out again, we need to ask them, okay, you're going to opt out of it. What are you going to do to provide your citizens with transportation so they can get from District 7 to District 3? If you're going to opt out of the public transportation service, what is that municipality going to offer its citizens to take care of the public transportation? Because if they have none and they opt out, I mean, that's not doing their citizens any good. So they have to have something to back up why they are opting out of the public transportation. I mean, that's the backbone, for a successful city and county. So something would definitely have to be worked out there. Revisit the first one And if they decide to opt out again, then they have to show, hey, well, this is what we're going to do instead of that. They have to give their citizens some option for public transportation, a good option.
Thank you. Here's the next question. With the economic recession caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, SPLOST revenues will be well below past projections for several months, and it's likely that property tax revenues will decline in 2021. How will you address these budget shortfalls and still meet the needs of the community? We are going to start in District 6 with Mr. Dyal.
Yes, some of the budget shortfalls, there's many things in Chatham County. We've done quite a few of these forums. Many things have been brought up. Container fees, meeting with SCAD on paying some taxes on their properties and services, things like that. There's many opportunities in Chatham County. We just need to think outside of the box, you know, not think like it's like what has been going on. We need to think outside of the box. And that's where I think I'm going to be good at coming in, is I'm not a politician. I'm not on any of the boards here. I'm a construction worker, business owner. So I'm going to be able to think outside the box. And we need to go that way to get some of these funds needed for when we do have a shortfall. Some of the people that are here free, you know, businesses, they might need to start chipping in a little bit. We're providing them a place to do business. So we need to look at a lot of things like that in Chatham County.
Thank you. Mr. Whiteley.
Okay, so I think I agree that additional revenue sources is very necessary for Chatham County. Over 80% of Chatham County's revenue comes from taxes. So if we're going to have progress, it shouldn't be on the backs of property owners and the citizens itself. So a couple of options. One, I understand that currently the county has a AA+ bond rating, and we're looking to potentially get reevaluated for a AAA bond rating, which would allow us to save some money when it comes to capital expenditures and stuff like that, finance. And so that is one area where we could reallocate some funds. Something else is looking into sports tourism. Sports tourism, I think, is an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone, as we can use it for youth engagement, as well as bringing people from out of town for tournaments, for perhaps potentially a semi-professional team. Another thing to look into is impact fees for the development and growth that's taken place here. And then more importantly, I think it is business growth and development. If we are empowering our citizens to have good jobs, bringing companies and businesses that are paying fair wages, then everybody is doing better. And I think overall, it will reflect in some of the tax collection, more property ownership, more properties being built, and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you. Now we will go to District 7 and start with Mr. Kicklighter.
Thank you. Let's see. Thank you. And thank you for asking this question. When I took office in the county commission seat, shortly afterwards, 9/11 happened. 9/11 blew the budget completely to hell and back. And what happened was I walked into office and inherited a $12 million deficit. You got to think outside the box when you run into something like that. All of a sudden I was thinking, God, not what am I going to do? It's what can we cut? So I thought outside of the box. I asked for the opinion from the county attorney if we could use SPLOST to pay off capital debt, sales tax money to pay off capital debt. It had never been done. We could. We did. We paid off the Mighty 8th Air Force Museum. We paid off the Henderson Golf Community, saving $2 million annually. 2 of the 10 was going right there. Then I asked if we could purchase capital improvements, major improvements on buildings with it, because it had to go for capital improvements. Could we purchase cars, trucks, dump trucks? And yes, we could. I, right there, up to this point, have saved the taxpayers of this county millions upon millions upon millions. And yes, I take credit, because if a politician don't tell what they've done good, people may never actually hear it. I did that. I've saved millions. I think outside the box. 2008, I was there when the Obama came into office and the economy crashed because of what he inherited. Worked our way through it. I'm the only one that's ran my own city, CEO of that city, had to produce my own budgets. I have produced my own budgets on the county commission when the chairman presented a budget with a tax increase. I have the experience. I am the one to take on the unforeseens. And I appreciate you asking that question.
Thank you. Mr. Scott.
So Ben, I'm gonna answer your question since Commissioner Kicklighter is living in the past. Let's look at container fees. Let's look at with the ports. We have the second most active port on the East Coast, and we're getting $0 from GPIT. So let's get with the state, our legislators. Let's get some lobbyists in there. Let's figure that piece out. Impact fees, we're missing a boat. District 7 has seen tremendous growth, and big developers have came in, made the money, and have no skin in the game with a lot of our foundation infrastructure. Also, let's look at reserves to see how that look and how that will be able to help out. I definitely agree there's going to be shortfalls with the pandemic, and we're going to have to think of creative ways to really to keep the county afloat without taxing the citizens. So thank you.
May I?
Thank you. 20 seconds to you, Mr. Kicklighter.
When you served 24 years in public office and you've never once voted for a tax increase, you're undoubtedly pretty creative. I've made the tough cuts in the past. I'll make them again if necessary. It's not a fun thing to do, but sometimes you have to govern and just do the bare minimums of what can be of help there.
Okay, all right, thank you. Oh, and she's live. Okay, hold on. Hold on, we're gonna regroup. She's been cut off. Okay, here's the next question. This is about an impact fee. So the impact fee is a fee that is imposed by a local government on a new or proposed development project to pay for a portion of the cost of providing public services to the new development. In the past 30 years, many counties have implemented impact fees on new construction, yet Chatham County has not. Given the expected budget shortfalls for the county, would you support impact fees on new construction in unincorporated Chatham County? And this time we will begin with Mr. Scott.
Great question, and absolutely. So West Chatham County, especially in the unincorporated areas, definitely is one of the fastest growing areas in the county. And all of the future growth, majority, not all, but will actually happen over where we are. So yes, let's look at impact fees, taxing these developers. We have to be careful to make sure that they're not adding that cost to the residents, but they got to pay for some of these roads that we're on. Roads, policing, fire stations, all of that will help with balance off what the county is going to have to put up, the money that the county is going to have to put up. So I definitely would support impact fees.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kicklighter.
Yes, sir. I knew the man was intelligent and he's a fast learner because he basically repeated what I said at the last debate when he had an opposing opinion. Impact fees is nothing but a fancy word for a higher tax. Not legally a tax because it's legally a fee, but it's nothing but a tax. We talk about homelessness in the area. Make no mistake about it. If you tack fees on for these developers to build homes, they're going to tack those fees on to the people that they sell them to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So you can't have it both ways. You can't be a group that wants to rid homelessness, but yet you want to drive the cost of homes up. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm not opposed to doing something that keeps it in line with the rest of the building going on and the surrounding counties in the state, but I would never, ever want to put a fee on developers that would price houses too high or price the market completely out of Chatham County to other areas, because you have to take into account the taxes in each county. So if your fees are even equal to the fees in a neighboring county, if our property taxes are higher, the builder will go build somewhere else and we lose it. The 7th District has been carrying this county tax-wise for quite a few years now, and it's the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing districts in the entire country, not county like Mr. Scott said earlier. And I'm very proud that the roads are in place, the parkways, the drainage, and all the millions I've been able to bring here to help it grow as smoothly as possible.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scott, you want to respond to changing your view?
No, I was aware that I didn't mention it last day, but that's the argument that going to the price of the house or whatever. So I was aware of that. Thank you.
Mr. Whiteley.
So yeah, generally speaking, I do support impact fees. I do think, especially when we're talking about the special service district, if we're not charging impact fees for new developments and whatnot, then those costs are going to fall on the citizens eventually anyway. Now, I would like to see a feasibility study to make sure that we are levying the fees at a fair rate and also in line with the different growth throughout the state, just to make sure that we're competitive. I don't want to price ourselves out of the market, so to speak, but I do think that if we have developers that are coming and growing, helping our county grow, taking advantage of the growth within our county, then we should make sure that they are not just taking the money and running, but having some skin in the game.
Thank you. And Mr. Dyal. Did they lose me? Go ahead, Mr. Dyal.
Yes, thank you. Impact fees, I can't really say I'm for impact fees because there's too many different scenarios that could go wrong. We could drive our builders out of Chatham County, like Commissioner Kicklighter was saying earlier. You know, if I can build a house in Chatham County for $20,000, this not right prices, I'm just using it as an example. If I could build one here for $20,000 and my impact fee is $3,000, Bryan County, I could build one for $20,000 and my impact fee is $2,000. As a builder, where am I going to build? It's going to be Bryan County because it costs me less. I don't have to send that on to the homeowner. There's a way to go about it, but just flat out saying that, yes, I'm for impact fees, I can't do that because there's just too many scenarios going on with an impact fee. A lot of the builders here are local builders. I mean, and they've been building for, 20, 30 years. I grew up working for a lot of them. They're not these huge conglomerate corporations. They're local people that have grown up here and build here. And, and it's something I'm sure could be worked out, but just slapping an impact fee on you for not being here for so long, I think will be definitely the wrong way to go about that.
Thank you.
Okay, we've reached that moment where we're on our last question of the night. This first question is directed to Commissioner Dean Kicklighter. I just want to know, what are you most proud of, that one accomplishment as a county commissioner here in Chatham County?
Thank you, Tina. I am most proud that I was the only one of 18 people that voted against that very flawed, destructive so-called police merger, which in truth was nothing but a takeover of the unincorporated area's police department. And I was the only one that voted against it. And I'm so proud that I was able to fight it and stay in office and fight it until I gained the support to get rid of that disaster of a police merger. We now have approximately 9 patrol officers patrolling all of West Chatham County 24 hours a day. Back during the merger, we had 1 at times patrolling. And we do that now for $3 million less than we would be paying if we were with Savannah actually overseeing the activities. So that's if there's a book of history one day about Chatham County, I hope to make it on that one alone. I stood for the right thing, and thank God I lived long enough to be proved that I was right. And I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you. And now to the new candidates. What single accomplishment will best demonstrate what will make you a great county commissioner for Chatham County? And we would begin with Mr. Scott.
Wow, great question. 20 plus years of retail management experience, running multiple units. My leadership, my profit and loss management, revenues in the dollars every year. I have the experience, have the cross-functional ability, all people, and have those solid leadership qualities that you need in a leader. So I'm very proud of it. I work with some of the top retailers in the country for years, been successful in every market that I ever operated in. I've worked in 4 different markets. So very, very proud of that and very proud of my record.
Thank you. And Mr. Dyal?
Yes, thank you, Tina. I think what would make me a good spot for the commission seat, District 6, is I've been a business owner for 20 years, a little over 20 years now. I have to deal with all kinds of people. I have to work with homeowners. I have to work with the city, the county for permits. I have to work with builders. I have to work with other trades, plumbers, heating and air, framers. This building a home or wiring a home doesn't all just go together. You have to work with multiple trades. I'm flexible. I'm used to working with multiple different people from multiple backgrounds, you know, all the way up from the owner, all the way down to the guy digging the ditch, which is usually me. But yeah, that's what it's going to take to work with everybody and be flexible. And I think that's what's going to put me in the best spot for a District 6 county commissioner, is having that experience, you know, doing budgets. I've done budgets for 20 years for the business, budgets for the different projects that we do, small and large. I think all that included is going to make me the best candidate for the District 6 seat. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Whiteley, your response to this question.
Yep, so I think, wait, am I unmuted? Okay, there we go. So I believe that one of my greatest accomplishments would be being a communicator across the board, being able to communicate with stakeholders within our community, as well as my colleagues on the commission, to make progress happen. You know, my experience as a combat medic, I've had the opportunity to operate in highly stressed, highly scrutinized environments, so I don't fall for the pressure. I've been the renter in Chatham County. I've been the landlord in Chatham County. I've been the employee in Chatham County. I'm the business owner in Chatham County. I've been a board member as well as the community stakeholder. As a coach, I work with people right now. So I understand where everybody is coming from, having been in multiple pairs of shoes in our community. And so I think that I could help bring a collaborative esprit de corps, if you will, to help bring progress throughout Chatham County, especially District 6.
Thank you very much. Ben?
Time now for closing statements. 60 seconds to all of you. We begin with Mr. Scott.
Hey, thank you again, Tina and Ben and SAB and Georgia Southern for having us. Just a quick question. As a resident of District 7, have you truly benefited from all the growth that Commissioner Kicklighter spoke of? You know, I think big businesses, developers, and out-of-town contractors have seen the bulk of the benefit. But as residents, we've seen flawed infrastructure, congested roads, and dangerous roads, increased drainage concerns, lack of transportation, lack of services for our elderly, and no leadership with the plan. We talk about what we've done in the past, but what we're going to do in the future. So if you want change, and change is good, you need to try it. Vote for Orlando Scott, your next commissioner for District 7. Check out my website, votefororlandoscott.com, and you can get more information on me. Thank you very much. Bless you.
Thank you. Mr. Kicklighter.
Thank you. Had my opponent ever held in any type of elected office, he would know that you can't stop growth. You can't legally stop growth. We are located in the best part of the East Coast, in the middle of New York and Miami. We have air, rail, 2 major interstates, huge shipping channels. You can't stop it, but what you can do is you can fight like crazy to bring millions in to improve the infrastructure, like I have done and like I will continue to do. You can fight like crazy to bring in millions for drainage, 16 million for flood pumps, 30 million to bring in new jobs. I would say, sir, you wouldn't even live in Chatham County if it wasn't for me, because you're one of the new people in the county that has benefited tremendously, because those areas were not even there before I took office. it's you got to be prepared to be not prepared in this role. I am that. I stopped EMS from the county wanted to get ready to be EMS. I stopped it, fought it, and stopped it. They wanted to put a dump in the district. I fought it and I stopped it. They wanted to take my citizens' driveways away. I stopped it. I fought it and stopped it. You got to be ready to fight in this position. I've been fighting a long time, and I love doing it for the district. And I sure would appreciate your vote. I'm going to fight for you as long as you live within the 7th district, no matter your political party, no matter your gender, your race, or anything. I'm your guy to get things done, and I've been doing it in the past. I've got the.
Thank you, Mr. Kicklighter. Thank you. Now, Mr. Whiteley.
Okay, so District 6, you deserve a commissioner who has served our community and is willing to serve. My experiences as a PTA vice president, a board of directors member at Frank Callan Boys and Girls Club, an advocate with Chatham Savannah Citizen Advocacy, a coach and mentor with the Pit Bulls Athletic Organization, and a current mentor with 100 Black Men of Savannah's mentoring program, as well as a current appointee on the Chatham County Recreation Authority. Those experiences have prepared me to serve you and all of our neighbors to make the 6th district thrive. And I've served all of our neighbors and all of our community, regardless of race, political affiliation, or any attribute. When you vote for Adot, you're voting for a listener, you're voting for a problem solver, a communicator, and most importantly, a humble leader prepared to represent the 6th district and fight for our safety, our success, and our growth. So vote Adot on November 3rd, vote Adot right now, and understand that when you vote for me, you're voting for our continued progress. Together, we can make the 6th district thrive. My website is aaronwhiteley.com. That's Aaron Whiteley.com. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great night.
Mr. Dyal.
Yes, thank you for having me on, Ben, Tina, Ned. Thank y'all very much for the invite. I really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody that has voted for me already and the contributions to our campaign. It's been amazing, the support we've gotten. I do thank y'all very much. I'm very humbled by it. Like I said, this is my first time in politics. New to it, may need a little help getting out of the gate. I don't sit on the vice chair of, the Democratic committee, but I will get things done. I am a fighter. I'm definitely determined to get things done right. And that's what we're going to do. My website is wdial6thdistrict.com. Have a Facebook and a Twitter page also. You can go on there and check out more about our forum and leave any comments. If you need a sign, please ask us for one. What we're going to be working on November 3rd or early voting, whichever you prefer. I was there 5:30, first day of voting. I was the 9th person in Chatham County to cast my vote. All votes matter. Your voice matters, your votes matter. Even if you don't vote for me, which I hope you do, get out and vote. That's what we have to do. Positive change, no politics. Vote William Dyal, November 3rd. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
And now we would like to thank our audience for joining us tonight on WSAV.com. Also, those of you joining us on WSAV's Facebook page, this has been a great forum for the last almost 2.5 hours. And thank you to Georgia Southern University for partnering with us to bring this forum to life. We appreciate your support, and also Ned Renaducci from Georgia Southern. He has been involved in making sure that the political forum goes off without a hitch, and we appreciate your help as well, Ned. Now, in the coming days or the next week, we expect to have another forum. We will be sharing that information with you as we get that. And we want to remind you, of course, that all things politics, you can find anything related to the election on WSAV.com, your local election headquarters, WSAV.com/your local election HQ. And continue to join us throughout the evening. And we will see you at 10 o'clock on WSAV CW and also at 11 o'clock on WSAV News 3 on your side. Again, thanks for being with us, and to all of the candidates, thank you. And we look forward to talking with all of you very soon. Have a good night.